I published my first book way back in 2019, and I really didn't know what I was doing. I made many mistakes, and I want to share those mistakes with you today and what I would now do differently. Hopefully, this will help you if you're about to self publish your first book. Now, before we dive in, if any of these resonate with you, drop a comment and let me know. Right, let's dive in. The first thing I did was I rushed to write the book. Okay, I rushed the writing process because I wanted to get a book out. Okay, so what that meant was I didn't do any research, I didn't even read books in the genre or niche. I made it too much about me, and I completely sidelined the reader's needs and reader's expectations. So what I would do differently now would be make sure make sure you conduct proper niche research. Get a few books in your genre, or niche, and have a look at them, read them, go through them, right? And make a note of what they've done. Okay, so it could be like the cover, is it gloss or matte, so the formatting, the content, what's the content like, all those kind of things. I would definitely pay some attention to them. And also, as you're doing that, you should also make a note of like the blurb and the price points and stuff like that, So that's one thing I would do differently. The second thing I didn't do was really poor editing. Essentially, I only got a proofreader kind of line edit, and that was mostly to keep costs down. Now, it's not a bad book, my first one, but it could have been so much better, right? So going forward, I would definitely do a developmental edit, a structural edit, as well as a line edit, If there's the budget for it, maybe I'll even do a copy edit, right? Now, if you don't, and this is all budget dependent, okay? If you don't have the budget for any of this, try skill swapping. Offer something to someone who can do something for you in exchange, right? So maybe they can edit your book, developmental edit for your book, or line edit your book, or whatever. Offer something in return if you're not willing to or not able to pay for that because there's a budget constraint. It's fine. People understand that. All right. Number 3, formatting wasn't what I wanted. And I kind of just went with whatever I got, and it's not the worst ever formatting, like, to be fair, but, again, it came down to my inexperience. I didn't really look at what other people had done, other books in the market. I could have done something different, something maybe more to my personal liking, but so these days, I would definitely look at quite a few books in the genre and see what they're doing with regards to formatting and see what readers are expecting, because what is out right now is probably what readers are looking to get, okay? And I would probably format according to what I personally like, all right? So that's what I would do differently. If you're enjoying these 3 tips, boop the like button to let me know that you're learning something of what not to do with your self-publishing books. Point number 4 is my book was not long enough, and people expected a nonfiction book of 30k plus words. I came in at just shy of 20k. Okay, so this was more like a short read. Incidentally, only KDP can allocate the short read category. You can't select it. And basically the reviews reflected this. Even if you put in your blurb, I got comments like, this is a pamphlet. This book is so short, stuff like that. And readers' expectations were just not aligned. So this comes back in a way to like competitor or niche research. You really need to understand what readers are looking for and try your best to cater to that. Read through customer reviews in your niche and get a feel of what people liked or disliked, and then try and fill those gaps. Now, point number 5, second last point, was a lack of a marketing plan was a huge mistake. And I'm saving the biggest mistake for last, but marketing plan is my second biggest mistake. There are 3 methods that you need to incorporate when you have a book that you're about to publish. That's the pre-launch, the launch, and the post-launch phases. And you don't have to do, there's so many things you can do with marketing, but work within your comfort level, your time and budget constraints, all right? You don't have to do every single thing, but my view is doing something is better than nothing. And try and do it for the pre-launch, launch, and post-launch, Even now, if your book is already out, do something. Something's better than nothing, right? And if you haven't launched a book, even better. Get the machine in place, right? And see how you do. It's way better than not doing anything, in my opinion, all right? Now, the final mistake that I made that I would definitely change if I could go back in time is I did not have a long-term plan. I lacked a long-term plan. So as sales started coming in, it wasn't huge, but there were some. People wanted the next book, and I basically had no answer, okay? So I essentially lost sales. I lost readers. So that was a massive opportunity that was missed. So now I would suggest, so if I was talking to my younger self, or if you're new to the self-publishing scene, I would suggest planning for 2-3 books in a series, depending on what genre it is. You don't have to write it until you see some results. Some people prefer that. But generally, I would say if it's just one book, and people like that one book, they probably want to read more than one book. Maybe 2 or 3 or more. Right? And that's something I would change if I could go back in time. The biggest mistake. I really would have planned at least 2 or 3 books if I could. If you've already published a book or a few books, please drop a comment on your biggest mistakes that you would like to do differently, so we can all learn as a community, right? Now, a rising tide lifts all boats, yachts, and dinghies. So help us all out. Now, I mentioned I wish I had a marketing plan for my books. Click on this video to see what I suggest for book marketing. On the other hand, if you're trying to gather reviews for your books, I got you covered with this playlist right here. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you there.